Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast. My name is Scott. I'll be your host today. I've got a great guest for you today. I'm going to bring him in shortly. As always, you can find this in the back episodes of our podcast at our website. It's called ordinarymarathoner.com. Check it out if you get a chance. You can also find them at the aggregators, places like Stitcher, TuneIn, and iTunes. And if you like the show, please hit that subscribe button, and you'll never miss a new episode that way. We also got a YouTube channel out there now. It's just the audio of the show. But just another avenue for you to listen to our podcast. It's called, obviously, Ordinary Marathoners, or Ordinary Marathoner. That's the channel. Check it out. Got a couple videos on there, too. We plan to be doing a video series shortly. Just kind of haven't got my act together on that one, but I am working on it. Check us out over on Twitter. You can join our conversation over there. You can find me at Ord Marathoner. That's O-R-D Marathoner. And if you follow me there, I'll follow you back. Or you can check us out over at Facebook at our discussion group called Ordinary Marathoners. And it's a closed group, so you got to add yourself to it. But don't let that sway you or be intimidated by that. We will approve you right away. And you can either be a lurker and check out what people are saying, or you can join the conversation, post your runs, ask some questions. We have people from all skill levels over at that discussion group, whether it's beginners just off the couch, and we have some ultra marathoners on there too. So really just a great, positive, productive group over there. I'm really kind of proud of it. Just met a bunch of people, a lot of new friends, and everyone has the same thing in common. We're all runners. So right now we're recording this on Thursday. It is day probably 7, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, day 6 or 7 of the Ordinary Marathon, which is our 10-day virtual race. And it's going really well, I gotta say. We initially set up attendance. I don't even want to tell you what we expected, but we were a little bit short of attendance. But still, the people that did register, I thank you guys so much. Really, we raised a bunch of money for the American Cancer Society. They're really happy with it. And I tell you, you guys have been out there running miles all week long, and really, it's just inspiring, and I love to see it. I do want to mention the sponsors of the Ordinary Marathon. Authors Brian Burke and Denny Cray, both of them were former guests of the podcast. Both of them donated autographed books to the cause. The SAM Fund is a great charity. It's a cancer-related charity. Destination Vacation. Greasy Girl Headbands, obviously one of our show sponsors. Queen Bean Coffee donated a couple of gift baskets as well. Nathan Sports donated a hydration belt and a reflective vest for those of you guys that like to run at night. And we also have Reflectos, which is brand new. I was actually introduced to this guy from Benjamin Hinton, and he runs this company. They make socks that glow in the dark. And they look pretty cool. He actually sent me a pair. I'm going to check them out. But he's also decided to give away a pair to a lucky winner from the Ordinary Marathon. And last but not least, our final sponsor is Furever Home Running, who is also our race director, kind of the guy that put the race together for us. And Furever is spelled F-U-R. We're going to talk about that in just a minute because the man himself is here with me, my guest this week, Scott Frasard. Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for all the work you've done for us in the past few months. I mean, we kind of put this thing together fairly quickly. I know, we didn't have as many participants as we liked, but, you did a great job getting this whole thing together and really helping us out. And I just, I'm glad we could bring you on the podcast, and thank you for it.
Thank you. And I was excited when both you and Melissa asked me about doing this, and I think the cause is wonderful. And it was a great experience for me as well. Met a bunch of folks, and I too think that this turned out really well.
Yeah, I'm really. It's kind of strange because you and I have talked about this in the past, but I think maybe for our listeners out there, sometimes you think of a virtual race, and I'll tell you, like even for myself, I was a little bit skeptical. It's a virtual race. It's not something where you go and you're hanging out with a whole bunch of people and you go for, going for the same run and comparing times and doing all that stuff. Instead, it's sort of like you're just doing it on your own. And my initial thought was, well, I can do that anyway on my own. In fact, I'm probably going to do that on my own, so why don't I have to pay for it? So I'm sure that this is like a common question that you get, especially since this is, something that you do for a living. So what do you tell people who sort of approach of the idea of a virtual race with some bit of skepticism?
So I actually, my company that I run, we do go to race expos, and I get to talk to a lot of people that come to the expo to pick up their packets, and they see my booth. And invariably, there are skeptics, and, to each their own. This isn't part of the running sport that's for everybody, but I do think this is an access to the sport that has come into its own and is actually quite important to access. I'm not an elite runner. However, I love running. Because of that, I think there are a lot of folks that want to be a part of the sport that feel like maybe they can't because they feel that it is for those elite runners or those that can run a full marathon without stopping. And that's the kind of audience that I say, absolutely, it's for you. If this is what you want to do and you enjoy it, why not enjoy the same benefits, if you will, perks, if you will, as any other runner? I mean, to me, whether I'm running a virtual race on my own, where I want, when I want, or if I'm running a formal race with a course and all that sort of stuff, I'm still running the same distance. I'm still doing the same thing. So running being an individual sport, I think is something that a virtual race is just as valid as a on the ground race. Right.
And I hear you on that. And I think I mentioned before to you that, and you can use my personal selling, because this is from my own experience with these virtual races. Because like I said, I sort of approached it at first with a bit of skepticism. I wasn't sure I wanted to get involved with one, and I was a little bit concerned about my own personal, like the reputation of my podcast, and because I don't like pulling one over on my listeners. But I tell you that there were three things that I identified that made this experience completely worth it. And the first was a sense of community, which is, we have our discussion group, for example, 600 something people.
Yes.
And we chat a lot and we get to know each other a lot, but we don't live near each other. A lot of us live all across the country. We have a listener in Japan. It's not like I'm going to go to Japan and listen, So the virtual race brings us all together and gives us like a common goal to run together and a reason to, to support each other and to run together without being together. I think that's a major selling point for me. So there is camaraderie, right?
Absolutely. Just like you would on the course. And what's interesting is so many other aspects of our life are that way currently. You think about the various social media platforms out there, and we have these virtual communities of every flavor. This is another one of those virtual communities. Exactly.
And, I think the second thing that made it worthwhile for me, or the way, it made me feel good about making sure that my people got value out of this race, was we do a lot of giveaways. And I'm sure you've seen it.
Right.
We do a daily raffle. We do a giveaway at the end. We do, everyone makes their posts. And so we do a giveaway for the most inspirational post. And I have my eye on a couple of them now as major contenders. I don't know if you've seen any of them yourself. But some of them are really inspirational. And so, it's another way of getting the inspiration out there,
And that's one of the things I love about this community, probably more so than even the live race community, is I really feel like people are so engaged with others of the like mind and are very supportive, inspirational, motivational. There's a number of friends that I've made through this community, not only for the race specifically, but just the virtual race world in general. And I got to tell you, the people I've met have been far more supportive and encouraging than a lot of the folks that I've met in person at races.
Yeah, the interesting thing is when you go to a race as on your own, and you can go and you can meet some people and you can hear their stories. And the thing is, you only meet a couple of people every race you go to. You're never gonna meet a whole group. And here, you really get. I mean, depending on how much time you have to go through and look at everyone else's stories and what everyone else is going through, you can really, every runner has a story, and it's just you can get them all.
And I would say it's a more enduring relationship too. Sure, in live races, I talk to runners that are around me, provided they're somewhat close to my pace. I don't have a very fast pace, but invariably, that's the one and only time I'm ever going to speak to them in my life. Very rarely have there been multiple repeat conversations that I've had, whereas the community that I've met online, those conversations continue.
Yeah. I got to say, and I've met a bunch of people at races, and every single time it's like you start that race, you chat beforehand maybe, and then you start that race and you think you made like a really good friend, and maybe you have. But for the most part, like I don't, it's not that I don't reach out. It's like, I don't know how to get in touch with those people. So I don't ever find out, how'd you do in the race? Well, if you're running a full marathon, someone could finish in 3 hours and someone could finish in 6, and then you'll probably never see each other again. And it's happened a bunch of times,
Right.
You meet, I pretty much meet at least one person before every single race I run. As I go to the starting line, we start chatting and everyone has a great story, but then I never really, you're right. I never really talk to them again. And it's not really, it's not that we didn't have a great conversation. It's just that there's just no means to sort of bridge that gap. And virtual racing can do that, I guess. It's right. It's really, I mean, it's ripe for that. It's a perfect vehicle.
Absolutely. And, like we were talking earlier, I think virtual racing is really starting to come into its own. The last several years, it's gotten to be really popular. And a lot of the big races are starting to offer a virtual option, whatever reason, that drives them to do that. You're starting to see it. Will we ever see a virtual Boston Marathon? Who knows? However, there are a lot of big ones that are doing that. But probably something that most people don't know is this idea of a virtual race is not new. I actually have done some research in this area and have a series of articles on LinkedIn. But one of the things that I learned is Track and Field News, as far back as 1957, did what they call postal races. And this was actually big in the high school track teams. And they would hold these local events would be held, but they would mail in the results for this national race. And so, this idea of a virtual race has been around for, over 60 years now.
Yeah. And what a great vehicle the internet has become to really enhance it.
Absolutely.
And the third thing to mention, I thought, is the reason why, and I think really this is sort of the backbone of it all, is that, and I think that runners as a group, we're all sort of it's like for some reason this sport brings out more charity than any other sport I've ever seen. And to do a virtual race that supports a charity like American Cancer Society, their determination team, amongst others, it just, it brings a cause. It kind of like just wraps the whole package nicely. So you get your own personal experience. You meet a whole bunch of people. You get all their stories. And then guess what? The money that you paid is going, whatever's left over after medals and shipping and all that kind of stuff, which is a significant amount, gets paid to the charity. So you all have this whole common goal involved to donate to a wonderful charity, and it just wraps the package nicely.
Absolutely. And my research actually shows that that charity, that philanthropic part of it, is one of the most important elements when it comes to the virtual races and what draws people to it. And I know for like the Ordinary Marathon and the American Cancer Society being the charity that monies will be donated to, I think most everyone can relate to that or has some sort of first or second degree connection to somebody who has had a cancer.
Yeah.
Same thing in my family. So it's important to be part of something that I'm contributing. And this is something that is also really important to Furever Home Running.
Right. Which was, I was going to talk about that next, which is, in addition to, to doing all this stuff and, setting up my own race, was that we go through you guys, Furever Home Running, and you guys have a charity arm yourself, really. You are, connected to animal related charities. How does that work?
Yes. So part of what made me put together and start Furever Home Running is, number one, my passion for running, but number two is the animal rescue. My wife and I got into animal rescue a few years back and wanted to do more. And so we coupled my two passions together, and part of the registration money, $5 from every registration, goes to animal rescue organizations, nonprofits. And each year we select 2 nonprofits to help support. And, there's a lot of companies that do this sort of stuff and donate money. I think Furever Home Running goes that next step or next couple steps in terms of transparency. And we actually enter into a formal charitable pledge agreement with these 2 organizations. And that way there's some assurance that, yes, the money we said we're going to donate is actually donated. And every quarter we donate. And we also post online what we donated, and at the end of the quarter we post how that money was spent. So you get some really solid assurance of what your money is going to. The 2 organizations that we're working with this year for 2018 is Roman's Rescue, which they specialize in dogs, and they're located here in Round Rock, Texas.
Yep.
And then the second one is Wayward Whiskers Cat Rescue, and they specialize in helping primarily FIV positive cats, which is so hard to adopt out.
Right.
And they're located in San Antonio, and they both do some amazing work. And the ladies that run them, mostly is their money that helps support it. So $1 goes so far with each of these organizations.
Yeah, and I tell you, my listeners will probably know that, you're talking to the right guy when it comes to these charities as well. My dog is a rescue dog. We got him from, he was rescued from Georgia and sent up to Massachusetts to a shelter here where we got him. And then we played the foster a cat game for a couple months there, and we failed miserably because, we wound up adopting one of our fosters, our cat Jorah, who is a troublemaker, who we almost lost last night out the window because we had the window cracked and he almost jumped out. Yeah. I thought there was a screen in the window. There wasn't, but he jumped in the window and I'm like, oh, wow. And we caught him just in time.
There you go.
Yeah. Second floor. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he would have made it, but,
it wouldn't have been fun.
Yeah. But,
we were the same way as you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I commend you. I mean, it's one thing to go out and start your own business and, all the hard work that you put in to do these things, and then to go ahead and give away so much of your income really to a charity. And a charity, I would think, most people out there are animal lovers, not everyone, but and most people, even if they don't have pets, they understand the need for these charities, and so I commend you on really doing this, on setting your business up this way. It's really it's fun to see. It's good to see.
Well, thank you. We want to do more. We just opened up our doors in December, so we're still a startup, if you will. I think within the year we're going to get to the point where we're able to support more than 2 a year. But you got to start somewhere, right? Absolutely.
Podcast started somewhere too, and we're going places, baby.
Absolutely. Good. Well, hey, I'm glad to be part of it.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to hit the break right now, and we will be right back with Scott Frasard. Hey guys, my friend Lauren is creating an incredible resource for runners and triathletes. It's called raceadvisors.com. She has amassed a list of thousands of races, 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, marathons, ultramarathons, and triathlons, and anything in between. If you're thinking about running a race, look it up and check out the reviews. Have a favorite race of your own? Look it up. See what others have to say about it. Or better yet, leave a review of your own. RaceAdvisors.com. Read it, race it, review it. I may not have a lot of hair, but I tell you, I know style when I see it. And I know you guys and gals with the flowing locks, you need something functional to keep that hair out of your face when you go on your daily run. And I have just the thing for you. It's called Greasy Girl Headbands. And I know what it sounds like, but it's not spelled that way. It's Greecie, girlheadbands.com. They make headbands that are specially designed for the runner to keep that hair out of your face, out of your eyes when you're out there on your daily run. So check them out. GreasyGirlHeadbands.com, Greecie, and find a design that's perfect for you. All right, we are back here with Scott Frasard. You can find Scott and his company over at FureverHomeRunning.com. That's F-U-R, very clever, by the way, F-U-R-E-V-E-R, homerunning.com. You can also find him at Twitter at Dr. Scott Frasard. That's D-R-S-C-O-T-T-F-R-A-S-A-R-D. Good to have you on the show, Doctor.
Thank you.
And so listen, you mentioned that we know you're a runner, and you mentioned that you're not especially fleet of foot.
No.
Yet you told me about this thing that you're doing, which, here I am, I meet you, and I know you have this whole virtual running thing going on, and that's all good. And then I hear this story, and I don't even want to tell anyone. So why don't you tell us this running like adventure / I don't know what to call it. It's crazy. Let us.
It is, and I must have bumped my head somewhere along the way. So last year I successfully finished a full Ironman triathlon, and after I got over that, I was like, okay, what's the next big challenge I can do? And
congratulations on that, by the way. That's I know how hard it is to do. It's certainly. What'd you do, Texas?
Yeah, I did Texas. Yes,
yeah.
Thank you very much, by the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, I was like, what's the next big challenge? And I do foresee one day doing ultra marathons, but I think I'm still quite a ways off from that. So I was like, I want to do something, and I want to couple it with this charity work as well. So I went on to the Guinness World Records website and started searching through the different running records that they have. And I came across one that I was like, I think I can beat that because I'm stubborn enough, right?
This is a great story because you know what? I bet you, especially with the running community right now, everyone who's listening is going, I always thought of doing the same thing.
I'm sure, yeah.
But you actually did it.
Ask is, yes. My only ask is, for anyone out there listening, let me hit this one first, and then you can try and break my record. So I found one that I think I could beat, and it is the most consecutive days running a half marathon on a treadmill. The current record is 52 days, running 13.1 miles a day, and I'm going to aim for 70. So a total of 917 miles in 70 days.
That is incredible. I got it. That's, you know what? I'm willing to bet that this sounds way easier than it's going to be. It's going to be painful.
Oh, I can only imagine. And I can't even really imagine it. I remember when I was training for Ironman and the hours every day that I'd have to put in. I think it's going to be just as bad, if not worse, because it's the same thing over and over again. I don't get to break it up and do a brick or I'm going to do a long swim or something like that today. It's running.
Running, yeah. You got to watch out for injury. So let me ask you this. There's got to be specific rules, like competitive rules. Like, do you have to run the 13.1 in a row? Can you take a break and then do it again or start again during the day?
So yes, so once I applied to Guinness, they came back and I have a packet with all the rules that they have, the things that I need to do to document it, all that sort of stuff. And just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that I have to do is, once I start my attempt each day, I cannot stop. I can go whatever speed I want. So I could walk 13.1 miles if I want, but I cannot step off of the treadmill. I also cannot touch the handholds on the treadmill. So I can't lean on it or anything like that. So, and that's actually, as I've been training for it, that's been one of the things, is to help train my brain to don't hold on to the handle.
I got to tell you, for me, I don't think it would be a problem for me if I was doing a treadmill half marathon. I think what would be interesting is, all right, so now if you're going to change speeds, right? So if you're running, I don't know, 6 miles an hour, you want to go down to 4 and just take it easy a little bit. Now, does that count if you're adjusting the speed, or does someone else have to adjust the speed for you?
No, I can adjust the speed. I just can't hold on to the handle and do it. So I've actually had to learn how to adjust it and balance myself without touching anything, which has been kind of strange.
Yeah. And then what about water? I'm sure you just grab water, but see, that's where I would fail, is because typically when I grab water, is I just hold on for a quick second just to grab the water so I don't fall on my face. But that would, I think it's just one of those things where it could,
it's interesting. It's interesting, the things that I don't realize that I did when I'm trying to do it without holding on to something. That has been a major part of my training.
That's, and then to think that you might go 12 and a half miles and then accidentally grab onto the hand. Oh.
Yeah. Then I got to start over if I want to do it. And the interesting thing is, each attempt I have to have 2 observers to be a witness.
Really?
And they've got to, yes. And they got some things they have to document and sign. I've got to videotape every bit of it.
Wow.
So I'm going to be buying GoPros and external hard drives and all that sort of stuff. So the logistics of it has been the most challenging part. And I've had to really scrounge to try and to round up people who can be there to observe it. That's probably the last piece of the puzzle that I have yet to solve.
Yeah, can you imagine? Hey, do you mind coming over to the house and watching me run on a treadmill?
Yeah,
for 3 hours.
you got 2.5, 3 hours to kill, don't you? And can you come back tomorrow?
Yeah, right, for the next 70 days.
Yeah. So I'm trying to round up a group of about 10 or 15 people that I can really depend upon, and hopefully I'll be able to incentivize it somehow. But you're
going to be giving out a few 6-packs, I think.
Something. I have a feeling I'm also going to be ordering pizza. I'm going to be doing this at my house on my own treadmill. Yeah, probably so. But on the flip end, on the back end, 2 big outcomes I want from it. Number one, I want to use this as that vehicle to help raise money for nonprofit rescues. And I've got a GoFundMe page that kind of spells out some other things that I'm going to be doing with the money as well.
Yeah.
But also, quite honestly, it's kind of cool to say you got a world record.
Yeah, it definitely is.
That's the other part of it.
That is definitely cool. Hopefully that lasts a while. Now, when do you start?
My intent was to start on May 16th. However, I've been dealing with a foot issue that has prevented me from running over 6 or 7 miles without severe pain. So I've taken care of that with a doctor and a podorthist, and hopefully my foot is going to be ready in a few more weeks to accept the punishing. Yeah.
It's you definitely want to be in good shape and fully fit and ready to go when you start something like this. This is incredible, man. I'm I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I can't wait to follow this. Yeah, we're gonna have to make sure we document this and get you up on the Ordinary Marathoner page and have people watching you. This is amazing.
That would be awesome. I do have a Facebook page that is dedicated to this.
There you go. We have to mention that. So do you have like a title? Yeah. Is it like I don't know.
Yes, it's called 70 halves in 70 days.
There you go. I think I'm actually already liking that page.
Real original.
Hey, you know what? That's yeah. I mean, that works. That works. Well, good luck, man. I think that's incredible.
Well, thank you.
And so listen, I wanted to turn back to the virtual race for just a moment before we end the evening. We're somewhere. It's Thursday, so we have another 3 days left. And I've been dropping your company's name on a lot of the podcasts as a sponsor. Obviously, you're doing a bang up job for us, but I've always kind of withheld a final ruling on sort of my review of your performance. But I gotta say, I think I'm ready to render a final decision. So I always get I like the job to be done. Once the job is done, right, then you can evaluate how people do. And I gotta say, I'm really excited. I had a blast so far, and we still have 4 days left. And I'm loving the event, and I'm loving the enthusiasm that people are attacking it with. So I'm definitely thinking that this is going to be something again for 2019. And you're the first person I'm looking up. I think you did a bang up job. All the people that I spoke to who have dealt with you directly, said that you were super nice and fixed any problem that they had. We didn't have anyone complain about missing packets or anything like that. And you took care of everything right away. And it's been a great experience. So, that is my review.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. I really appreciate it. One of the things that, I pride myself on is customer service first and foremost. And even if it's money out of my pocket, I would rather somebody be happy than have the extra dollar in my hand. So, we had a couple bumps, but I think we worked through them quite well. And the people that I've met along the way, participants that I actually got to speak to or engage with via email, everyone's been wonderful and super understanding, and I think everything worked out really well. Really pleased with what we came up with, and I think there was a good enough participation that I think come next time we're going to have a blowout kind of thing.
I think so too. I think we as the podcast as a whole and the discussion group and everything, it's just kind of been sort of slowly, organically growing. I like it this way. And, it's the one good thing about, so this is sort of like my own business but I let it grow organically. I don't really spend a lot of money on advertising, and I don't really, I sort of pride myself on getting the word out there sort of via word of mouth and people, it's just networking and people telling people about it. And it's been a really great experience. And I think the product of that sort of effort is you get the people that you want to get. The kinds of people that you want in the group are the people that show up. And so it's a great group. It's only growing, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again next year. And I can't wait to circle up with you on plans and get that thing going.
Absolutely. And I echo your sentiment about the networking thing. I know you've introduced me to some wonderful people as well. And, I think the group that you have and the following that you've built really is a testament to your passion that you put into this.
Well, thanks, man. It's nice. I sit here a lot of times and I tell people, I'm giving accolades to the people who have on my show. It's nice to actually hear some back, man. I really appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. And I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it.
Thanks, man. So, we've done a lot. We've done a lot of work. We've raised a lot of money for charity, my charity, your charity. We've gotten a lot of people excited about running, a lot of people out there, and they really, some people, still have goals to finish. And, it is Thursday right now, but I think by the time the podcast gets out, it will be the last day of the Ordinary Marathon, and really, above and beyond what I thought it would be. So, thanks again, Scott, for for helping out. And I think we're going to wrap it up at that point. So, yeah, I mean, did I miss anything, Scott? I know I got your website, fureverhomerunning.com. I got your Twitter at Dr. Scott Frasard, DrScottFrasard. Anything I missed there? The 70 for 70, right? Or 70 halves in 70 days?
Yep.
Is the Facebook page?
The only thing that's it. Absolutely. Yep. Yes. The only thing I would add is I have, for your participants in the Ordinary Marathon, as they wrap up their mileage at the end of this week and log into FureverHomeRunning.com and mark their time and distance, I do have another feature that should be live shortly that they will be able to take advantage of, and they'll also be able to download a PDF certificate to show their accomplishment. So that's something new and exciting that we're going to have in the very near future.
Yeah, that's great. And I got to tell you, so, you know, some people like join the race and I thought that they were just going to join because they were being nice and wanted to make me happy and donate money. And then they really participated and they got involved. And I you know, some people are kind of quiet about it and they don't post all their runs, even though they get entered into a raffle every day they do post a run. But, you know, just the participation was great and it's just fun to see. So thanks again.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and thanks for having me on.
All right, we are going to wrap it up here for this week. You know, I think last week I said we were going to have the dietitian on this week. Allison Knott is my dietitian, but we weren't able to get her on. But we're going to rebook her for some time in the future. I actually have no idea who I'm going to have on next week, but look forward to it because whoever I have on, they're going to be awesome. And until next week, always remember, when it comes to running, I'm no expert. I'm just ordinary.